Are you looking for true personal freedom? The freedom to design a life you truly desire? Then you're absolutely in the right place. True personal freedom comes from when you take 100% responsibility and control of your money and your mind. Here you're going to learn ideas, tips, and wisdom that's going to help you bridge the gap from where you are now to your dream life in the future. My name is Randy Wilson, and welcome to the Rich Mind Podcast. Hello, and welcome back again to the Rich Mind Podcast. First off, I just want to start off with saying that I truly appreciate you being here. I've had a lot of fun recording these episodes. It's just been, I'm having a great time, and I just really appreciate you showing up, listening to what I have to say. Hopefully it's been resonating with you. Hopefully you found it valuable. And today I hope to bring another episode of value again. So let's jump right in. So today I want to read a few sentences. I'm currently in the process of studying a book called Working with the Law by Raymond Holliwell. And I'll have a link, or at least the description of the book, in the show notes. I'll make sure we get that done. But today, Working with the Law by Raymond Holliwell is what I want to talk about. And it really centers around, I'm really honing in. I've had, the last few episodes, you probably hear kind of a theme almost of beliefs and how our beliefs are really what's keeping us from achieving what we truly want. And when I was reading this book over this last weekend, it's actually on the very first page of chapter 1. When I read this, it really resonated with me. And so I really felt like I wanted to really share it with you. So let me read these few sentences here, and then I'll give a little commentary of what I took from it to hopefully even drive the ideas at home a little bit even more. So once again, this is Raymond Holliwell's Working with the Law, chapter 1, and it's titled chapter 1 is Working the Law. So millions complain of sickness and disorder in countless forms. All this gives rise to the belief that we are victims of circumstances over which we have no control. Such belief makes of us fatalists and karmic addicts instead of masters and controllers of our destinies. A fatalistic belief is contagious, and when man submits to its influence, believing that the circumstances around him are stronger than the power within him, that man is defeated before the race is run. Now, as I mentioned, that was just a couple sentences, and it resonated so much with me. And what I want to share with you about that little phrase is that the understanding that the beliefs, the ideas, the little voice. I was having a discussion with my wife earlier today, and I call it little Randy. You can call it little whatever you want, but it's that little voice inside of your head that is trying to keep you from achieving what you're here to do, what you're meant to be. What I've discovered and what I try to share with others that are interested in listening is that we as humans a lot of times place blame or think that the issues that we have outside of us is that's the reason. It's out here is the problem as to why we don't have more money, why we don't have the relationships that we want, why we don't have the businesses that we want. We think that it's out there. And my argument and what I got from reading this little sentence is that it's actually within us. So we have the abilities to think, to reason, to make decisions, to focus. We are the only creature known to exist that has the ability to choose our own way of being. Now, if your beliefs and your stories are controlling those ideas and focus and all of the things that are going on. So if that, what I call, like I said, I call it my little Randy. So if your little Randy is in control of your life, you're not going to get the results that you're looking for. So your outside, you might have heard this before, your outside is going to be a mirror of what's going on the inside. So where do you begin? That's when I first started learning and reading about these kinds of things. I was like, okay, that's great, and you might be thinking the exact same thing. But where do I begin? I encourage folks to. It starts with your attitude. So people will say, having a gratitude attitude or an attitude of gratitude is the secret when it comes to beginning to shift the idea of what's going on the inside will then reflect on what's going on the outside. Everything in the universe is energy. So even the hard surfaces, the computer, the listening device that you're listening to me on right now, is all energy. And you can control your energy. Attitude and being grateful for what you have changes your energy. When you raise your energy through a positive mental attitude, through a positive gratitude feeling, you will then be able begin to attract more things into your life. More people will begin to show up. More opportunities will begin to show up. Better ideas will be flowing into your mind, literally almost out of nowhere. It'll almost feel like it's a miracle, but it's not. It's how this process and the systems work. When you realize that your outside world, the things that are in your current environment, is a reflection of the ideas, the thoughts, and the actions that you're taking on a daily basis, you're in control of those. Once again, that's what I'm here trying to convey to you through this podcast, is that you need to take control. You need to learn that the ideas that are coming to you, the feelings that you have based on those ideas, running them through your filters of your beliefs and your stories that may or may not be true, that impact then your decisions, that impact then your actions, which are then going to impact your results. That is where we need to begin. So many years ago, when I was at the very beginning stages of my journey, when I realized that I was not in control of what was going on in my life, that is what was introduced to me, was just the idea of having an attitude of gratitude and being thankful for what you actually have, not being upset with what anybody else has. You don't need to worry about anybody else. You just need to focus on you, your attitude, raising your energy. It's when you come into a room, whether or not it's at work or in a social event or any type of thing. You should, or at least I do, you can feel the energy of folks, meaning you can tell if somebody is energetic, if someone is a little bit more low key. I'm not saying that those things are either good or bad, but my point is that you have the ability to change how you show up in an environment. And when you change how you become or how you are interacting with that environment, you're going to get different results from the people that are in that environment. So let me just share just one quick story as far as that, how that's been for me. When I made the decision just a few years ago to begin attending live events, large live events in rooms of folks that are measures more than where I was at that moment. So it was uncomfortable. I would get anxiety wondering what in the world was I doing in that area or in that room or whatever those feelings and beliefs, right? The stories that were the little Randy that was really firing off, going crazy in my head. What was I doing there? But what I did was I made the decision at that moment, even when I was feeling that anxiety, that I was going to show up and be the best version and be the best me that I possibly could, that I was going to bring as much energy, even though it was draining. It was very mentally draining because I had to focus on it. But I wanted to show up and add as much value as I possibly could through conversations, through just socializing, just being around folks uh, on a continuous basis. And I will tell you that that decision and me showing up in that environment has continued to pay dividends to me years later. I just recently had someone reach out to me via email to try to connect with me, to try to connect to me with someone else that who knows what that will lead to? But the point is that person is out there thinking about me because of how the energy and how I showed up in the room years ago impacted them. Find ways to be grateful for what you have today. Change your energy. Show up more energetic. Show up asking questions. One thing that my dad taught me very early in my life was that people love to be asked questions. People love to talk about themselves. And there's nothing wrong with that. I love to talk about myself. We're all wired that way. So the easiest way to get into a conversation with folks, if you're a little bit uncomfortable with it, is just to begin to ask some basic questions and then act interested. Be engaged in the conversation. Give some rebuttal back if you have some input to give back to them. But the idea is to stay with asking questions. I've challenged myself many times that I will just continue to ask questions. I try not to share anything about myself. I will stay asking questions the entire conversation, and it comes to an end. And honestly, there's times that I wouldn't even know much about that person other than some basic back and forth. But the idea was that I showed up for them and I was grateful for that experience. And because of that, it allows me then to receive more in the future. The idea is that the way I show up on the inside, who I am, my attitude, my gratefulness, then is expressed on the outside, which then is going to start bringing new things, new people, new ideas, new opportunities for me to then take action on. And when I do that, the results are going to change. It's a very simple process. I'm not saying that it's easy, but it's a very simple process. And I encourage you to begin trying to change the way you're thinking about stuff and the way thinking that it's out there. It's everything out there is the problem, and start working on in you, inside of you, because that's what you actually can control. So hopefully you found value in that episode today. When I discovered these things many years ago and I really went to work on myself, that is when my life really began to accelerate in a positive way. And that's why I'm super passionate about sharing it with you here on the podcast. And hopefully you found value in that as well. So go out there, make it a great day. Have a fantastic day. Focus on you, on your internal beliefs and your stories. What's keeping you from achieving that level of greatness that you're really trying to strive for out there in the real world. So have a fantastic day. I look forward to connecting with you all very soon. And until the next episode, bye now. Thank you for joining me on the Rich Mind Podcast. I hope you found a ton of value in this episode. If so, I'd really appreciate a 5-star review. And you can also share it with your family and friends. And as my mentor Jim Rohn shared with me, in order to have more, you must first become more. And in order to become more, you must work harder on yourself than you do on your job. So go out there today and work harder on yourself to become more and build the life of your dreams. Until next time, my friends.